kings. They're just like us, getting divorces, killing people. Hey, Andrew here outside of the Winter Garden Theater.
It's Wolf Hall. It's a TV show, it's a book, and now it's a Broadway show. It's historical fiction.
Fiction, but very accurately historicalified. When I saw the posters, I thought, that looks tacky. And then you were like, Mark Rylance is in it. And I was like, that sounds amazing.
But
then you were like, Mark Rylance is actually on the TV show and not in this thing.
Hopefully this will be like binge watching an entire season of Game of Thrones.
There are 2 shows.
Yeah.
Part 1 and Part 2. How long are they each?
I don't know, like 5 hours.
Jeez Louise.
We'll see you, I guess, at the first intermission of Part 1 of Wolf Hall.
The plot is complicated and has a lot of people in it, but it focuses upon Thomas Cromwell, who was a lawyer, but he's sort of recast as a 1500s fixer, as the go-to guy that you need on your side if you want to start a war,
get some spices from Italy,
arrange a marriage. It's like,
it's The Sopranos.
And then there's a lot of other historical people.
The blocking is absolutely phenomenal because it goes in and out, and like at one point somebody dies, and the only thing that happens is that somebody drops something on the floor.
Crosses downstage, drops something on the floor, and it starts snowing, and you're like, oh my god,
she's dead!
She's dead! I know. Minimal effort for maximum effect.
It's this engaging storyline. Basically the story of how Henry VIII, right?
I don't know.
He looks like he's the playing card. But basically it's about him getting...
It's the king from those cards?
Trying to get his marriage annulled so that he can get a son. He just wants to get rid of his aging wife. He wants a younger tart, actually. And wait, where's the hall? They haven't mentioned a hall yet.
Or wolves. So here we are at the intermission between shows.
Yes.
This show, while historically accurate, is also about some sort of lofty, big issues.
I find that I was thinking about the idea that king versus religion is basically, or politics versus corporations.
The rule of man versus the rule of God.
Sure.
Cromwell's trajectory. He was a poor man's son, and he rose to the highest office in the realm.
Exactly.
And influenced the simultaneous fall of God's power over man.
Yes.
Enabling the king to play God himself.
That's really good stuff. So you know what? It's fine without Mark Rylance. The fact that Mark Rylance isn't in this means there's more Tonys to go around.
We'll see you at Part 2 of Wolf Hall. So it's been 4 hours, quick trip to Joe Allen for a martini pit stop, and here we are back at Wolf Hall, getting ready to see Part 1 of Part 2.
This is a big, huge story, and I can't wait to see what happens.
It's going to be a surprise ending for me, because guess who failed history?
Really? We will see you at intermission of Wolf Hall Part 2, and I hope we finally make it to this Wolf Hall.
And here we are at the final intermission.
It's not terribly smart.
It's not, but it's great. I mean, I'm definitely having more fun here than I ever did in history class in high school. If I had to sum up this show in a nutshell, I would say it's Renaissance The Good Wife. Legal loopholes and machinations abounding.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but how can we get out of this contract?
I know. It's sort of like a soap opera. It's a guilty pleasure, but at least it's based on history, and you're learning something.
That's a really good point.
So yeah, let's go back inside for...
I cannot wait. I'm really enjoying this.
Good. Wow, what an epic. At one point in the second act, a character starts eating cake, and she starts talking to how delicious the cake is, and I feel the same way about the show as she feels about the cake.
You think it's a delicious show?
Yeah, it's a delicious show, but
ultimately there's not a lot up here?
It's not very fulfilling, I guess.
Definitely gotta see, if you're gonna see one, you gotta see both. It's immensely watchable.
Yeah.
It kind of strikes me like, it's kind of like a mid-price wine. Like very watchable, not too complex. It ain't Shakespeare, but it's definitely royal. And I would recommend you go see Wolf Hall.
That's good.
Green light over here.
Yeah, 2 green lights for Wolf Hall. I want to get out of here and get a drink.
Mm-hmm.